That was the first interview that the Indian envoy to Canada, who was recently recalled, gave to PTI, in which he goes on to categorically say that the legal system in Canada is lenient, which is why so many Khalistani sympathizers, Khalistani gangsters find a way into Canada, find a way to foment trouble in Canada. It's just about 10,000 Sikhs that want to whip up this sentiment of a Khalistan in Canada, and they are the ones that shout the loudest, they are the ones that get attention, and not really the rest of the Sikh community that resides peacefully in Canada is the message that he sends out in this particular interview. He also goes on to say that when he and 5 others in the Indian consulate there were declared as person of interest in the Nijjar case, that came as a shock. In his words, in Sanjay Verma's words, he says this is the worst of the bilateral relations. This is the pits. These are the words, I quote him, as India decodes where ties go with Canada from here on. Like many others, Sanjay Verma also going on to say that Trudeau is the only one that's to blame and that's responsible for where India and Canada ties have now reached. Siddhant, my colleague, will be joining us shortly, getting us more perspective. But all of this comes at a time when Justin Trudeau is facing immense pressure from within his party and his political rivals in Canada. In fact, just yesterday, Justin Trudeau has been given out a deadline to resign within the next 4 days as well. All of this timing is suspect to the kind of decisions and statements that have come to the fore from Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, something that Sanjay Verma also alludes to. This is nothing but him pandering to a certain vote bank, and which is why Justin Trudeau is the only one that needs to share the blame as far as this crisis goes between the two countries. Siddhant, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more perspective. Siddhant, this is perhaps the first interview that we have of the recalled envoy, now that he's back in India. He's categorically said that it is the legal system in Canada that is problematic, which is why so many Khalistani sympathizers and gangsters find refuge there. Not only find refuge, but even thrive in Canada.
Yes, Poonam, this is for the second time he is speaking to any network. And in fact, his last interview was to the Canadian network. And in that interview, he was to the point, and he perhaps was telling that where is the evidence, and if I am an accused, the investigators need to share evidence with me so that I can come prepared. So that interview was to the point. This particular interview, since he's back to his country and he is speaking to Indian media, and perhaps his interview had more an emotional pitch, more an emotional approach. And in fact, he has used the words like betrayal and came like a shock. And, that is perhaps how he felt when he got to know that such activities are happening against him by the government, which is a host government of the High Commission. So, he made a series of points in this interview. In fact, he said that declaring me a person of interest by Canada came as a shock, a kind of a backstabbing. A backstabbing word has been used by him. Did not betray emotion, not even a wrinkle of worry on face. He also spoke about, and very candidly he spoke about, the Khalistani terrorist extremists found refuge in Canada due to lenient Canadian legal system, which in fact we also have been reporting on our network, that how Justin Trudeau's policy is perhaps allowing so many people to come and seek asylum and, get involved in all sorts of wrong activities. Now, Indian Envoy also said that hardliners Khalistanis in Canada do human trafficking, gun running, collecting money through gurudwaras for nefarious businesses. In fact, in our reportage also, Poonam, we have highlighted it multiple times, and the same has been reiterated by Sanjay Verma, that how these groups are, sort of money bags, and gurudwaras are money bags. There are few gurudwaras being run by Khalistani groups that have become a money bag for such groups. Khalistanis intimidate other Sikhs by threatening to target daughters' families. So, if a person from the Sikh community living there not supporting their ideology, then that particular family gets targeted. They get threatened. And Mr. Verma was very clear that Nijjar was a terrorist for us, but anything extrajudicial wrong in democracy, truth must come out. And perhaps Indian High Commissioner is not now for justice.
Sanjay Verma there making it very, very clear what India's stance is, how he was treated, and the one person responsible for this entire mess is Justin Trudeau and nobody else. Joining us on this broadcast, Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat, Swasti Rao, foreign policy expert. Ashok Sajjanhar, let me begin by asking you. You know, in clearest of terms, the recalled envoy going on to say, this is the pits, this is the worst possible approach to bilateral relations. And the one person responsible for it is Justin Trudeau. But you know, it's not the ties that bind us to Justin Trudeau, it binds us to the country. If Trudeau is out, which he possibly will be in the next few days or definitely perhaps by next year, will we see these ties get any better?
Yeah, I would think so. Poonam, thank you very much for having me. Yes, I would think so, because I think what Sanjay Verma also brought out very clearly is that, the Canadian people otherwise are very warm, very hospitable, very pleasant. And, and I think that is the experience of all of us who have come in contact with the Canadian people. I have had in my career occasion to work with a large number of Canadian diplomats, and I find them extremely, nice, pleasant to work with. So here it is basically an individual and the people surrounding him, his dispensation, his coterie, foreign minister, and, even as far as RCMP is concerned, whatever they might say that it is an independent organization, but, they are also colored by the hues, by the thinking, by the ideas, ideology of the ruling dispensation. So I think it is basically that those set of people, and also the rationale for that, what Sanjay Verma mentioned, is domestic politics. Basically to reach out to this vote bank, and there is nothing beyond, nothing sinister. So I think it really for leader of the country on to keep the relationship with such a big country, largest democracy, such a huge country, hostage to this domestic politics is personal security, personal power. I think that sounds appears very unbecoming, and that he can sacrifice the interest of the country for his own interest in that, and continue to do so.
And where has it gotten him? It's not like he has any favor even within his party.
Yeah, not within his party, not with the National Democratic Party that was supporting him earlier. And, the question that you asked, Poonam, was very right. Where does it go from there? I think we will, Canada is very likely to have a new government next year. Before October 2025, the elections are to be held. But, I think we'll really have to wait and see as far as the Conservatives are concerned. When before Trudeau, it was Stephen Harper, and our relations with Stephen Harper and his government were very good. You might recall that Prime Minister Modi had visited Canada. We were even talking, we started talking about an FTA with Canada. We started talking about importing uranium from Canada at that time, because Canada has huge reserves of uranium, and that is, we are in the global market for uranium. We've been importing from Kazakhstan, Niger, etc. And now even maybe imports from Australia will also commence. So Canada was a good source supposed to be for, but none of that has really come about. And even the talks on the FTA, on the free trade agreement, have also not really taken us, they have been suspended. So we'll really have to wait and see for new government to come and how we can pick up the pieces and take and mend our relations and take them forward. Poonam.
But Sasi Rai, let me also get you in. We blame all of this at how Trudeau's handled this entire thing. It's one person's problem and not necessarily a country's. But if there was a change in government, if we were to see this party out and someone else come in, where do you think this issue goes? Because like Sanjay Verma was also pointing out, that noise that is being made around this Khalistani issue in Canada is only getting louder and more shrill by the day. If Justin Trudeau has pandered to it because of his vote bank politics, is it a possibility someone else will too?
Good evening to you, Poonam. Thanks for the question. Yes, I think one needs to keep in mind the fact that specifically speaking about Canada, there has been a 50-year-odd history of tensions that have never really been structurally addressed, and especially with regards to the separatism, the Khalistani and all of that. And one of the biggest examples that you've seen, of course, is about the bombing of the Kanishka, incident. And I think what also amplifies the situation is that, if you look internally, Canada does not really have an external intelligence capabilities, and it is dependent on what foreign partners for that kind of intel. And basically, then, I mean, that is one of the reasons why Canada is reliant on other inputs, and it doesn't really have any hard evidence. It is not able to process those inputs, etc. And this is all a part of the bigger mess that got created, and which ultimately saw this very unfortunate unfolding in the way it did. Now, I totally agree that it's not just the liberals, but it's also the conservatives that have been mollycoddling these Khalistanis, basically for domestic gains, for many, many decades. So this remains a structural problem in Canadian politics. That's the first thing. But like I said, that if you see today, I think Canadians are the ones that are most dissatisfied and most disillusioned with Trudeau's style of politics. I mean, Trudeau is actually behaving like a man-child. Trudeau is this guy. I'm sorry for that aeroplane, but yeah, coming back. So Trudeau is really this guy who does not really know how to follow any diplomatic dignity. And one of the reasons why this actually got to the level where it got was because the way he handled it. So if you see internally, there have been calls for Prime Minister Trudeau to resign. And if you now know that there is an all-party caucus that meets weekly when the House of Commons isn't sitting in Canada. And I think what has happened recently is that in the most latest of this caucus meeting, 24 members of parliament have signed an agreement to call on Trudeau to step down as the Liberal leader. And this is something that we perhaps need to keep a better tab on, which means that, the Canadians themselves want to improve ties. You know that there was some previous videos also leaked, previous shared, on the social media, where you saw that opposition leaders have been asking Canada and Trudeau to step down because he kind of messed up relations with world's biggest democracy, that is India, which was not in relation with this particular controversy, but how he has been dealing with India in a very high-handed fashion, okay? So I think Canadians are themselves tired of what mess has Trudeau created. He has been there for 9 years. Of course, there is now time for change, but the proof of the pudding is going to lie in the eating, which means that what we expect from the Indian side is that we have made certain extradition requests. We have given them 26 extradition requests. We have brought up enough, from the last few years where we have asked Canada to respond, and the Canadian side has not responded. So we would want also them to take it up step by step.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but speaking of those extraditions, Sanjay Verma in this interview also said that several of these requests have been made, 26 to be precise, and they've never been paid heed to. But there is work on at least 4 of those names. He, of course, didn't divulge those names, but 4 of those could happen. Do you think that still would happen, given where ties have come now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, one always understands, Poonam, that diplomacy and these kind of maneuvers and requests are never a zero-sum game. I mean, you're never, completely there or you're completely not there. But the point is that do you actually show some incremental improvement? And what we do expect from a post-Trudeau Canada is that whoever becomes the leader there will be more sensitive to how reinstate normalcy in the decisions, because like everybody understands, this is not just about Prime Minister Trudeau or his personality or his, style of politics, okay? This is all about the 3 million, people of Indian origin who live there. This is about the 7.5 lakh Sikhs who live there, that all of them are not Khalistanis. It is about Canada's pivot to Indo-Pacific, which is a very huge point of convergence with India and the larger Western engagement. This is also about, billions of dollars of investment that are coming from, Canada. There's also about economic trade. There's also about the future of thousands of Indian students that go to Canada every year. It still remains a very important destination as far as that is concerned. So what I mean to say is that, yes, there has to be some kind of an incremental engagement and improvement. It will take time. But that is what the beauty of diplomacy is. And India is absolutely known for very pragmatic, I would say, diplomatic maneuvering. And I'm hopeful that the next leader in Canada would be equally mindful and would try to sort of, keep the bad blood behind and make some incremental progress. So I think, yes, I heard that interview where he said 4 names. He didn't divulge the details, and that's not important. What is important is that we have to build some trust back into this bilateral relationship.
And the onus for that is more on Canada's side than on us. Many more steps have to be taken by the Canadian side than by us for things to go back to normal, if that can ever happen, or at least a semblance of normalcy as far as bilateral ties between the two go. On that note, I thank you both for joining us here on this edition and sharing your perspective, because we're slipping into a quick break on this edition of Plain Speak. But on the other side, we'll get you the political fireworks that coming in not just from Maharashtra, but troubles that are mounting for the Congress across the country. Is the Congress now reduced to playing second fiddle within the India bloc? We get you that.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Xi Jinping, the President of the People's Republic of China, on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS summit at Kazan on 23rd October. This is the first bilateral meeting between the two leaders in the last 5 years. The Galwan clash had led to deterioration in relations between both sides and tensions at the LAC. This comes after India and China declared disengagement at all friction points at the LAC 2 days ago. But how was this achieved? The inside story we have from top government sources is that China was also eager to resolve the LAC issue lately. Mr. Modi's twin visits to Russia in the last 3 months, despite pressure from the US, got China on board for an agreement, top sources say. The talks reached an advanced stage in the last 6 months, leading to a full disengagement now. Top sources said that the disengagement and the de-escalation on LAC will be quick as well, with both sides eager to move fast to settle the issue. Patrolling from both sides will also begin soon on both sides of the LAC. The de-induction of the troops will be the final step of this process, which will depend on India's watch and verify approach with China. Well, the urgency to settle this issue quick reflected in Mr. Modi's talks with Jinping as well. Mr. Modi welcomed the recent agreement for complete disengagement and the resolution of issues that arose in 2020 in the India-China border areas. PM Modi also underscored the importance of properly handling differences and disputes and not allowing them to disturb peace and tranquility. The two leaders in fact have agreed that the special representatives on the India-China boundary question will meet at an early date to oversee the management of peace and tranquility in border areas and to explore a fair, reasonable and mutually acceptable solution to the boundary question. The early date being requested by both sides for these talks shows the urgency, as I said earlier, for a de-escalation on the LAC in a quickest possible time. The relevant dialogue mechanisms at the level of foreign ministers and other officials will also be utilized to stabilize and rebuild bilateral relations, a statement from India has said. The two leaders in fact affirmed that a stable, predictable and amicable bilateral relations between India and China as the two neighbors and the two largest nations on earth will have a positive impact on regional as well as global peace and prosperity. It will also contribute to a multipolar Asia and a multipolar world, the statement by India has significantly said. The two leaders have also underlined the need to progress bilateral relations from a strategic and a long-term perspective, enhancing strategic communication and explore cooperation to address developmental challenges. 31 rounds of diplomatic meetings and 21 rounds of military talks over 4 years and 2 crucial meetings that Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar and China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi in July has paved the way for India and China to achieve this agreement over disengagement at the LAC. There were 7 points of conflict on the LAC since the Galwan clash in 2020, 5 of which had seen disengagement, but the troops from both sides had remained in an eyeball-to-eyeball conflict in Depsang Plains and Demchok. Both sides have now disengaged on the remaining 2 points too. Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Xi Jinping, the President of the People's Republic of China, on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS summit at Kazan on 23rd October. This is the first bilateral meeting between the two leaders in the last 5 years. The Galwan clash had led to deterioration in relations between both sides and tensions at the LAC. This comes after India and China declared disengagement at all friction points at the LAC 2 days ago. But how was this achieved? The inside story we have from top government sources is that China was also eager to resolve the LAC issue lately. Mr. Modi's twin visits to Russia in the last 3 months, despite pressure from the US, got China on board for an agreement, top sources say. The talks reached an advanced stage in the last 6 months, leading to a full disengagement now. Top sources said that the disengagement and the de-escalation on LAC will be quick as well, with both sides eager to move fast to settle the issue. Patrolling from both sides will also begin soon on both sides of the LAC. The de-induction of the troops will be the final step of this process, which will depend on India's watch and verify approach with China. Well, the urgency to settle this issue quick reflected in Mr. Modi's talks with Jinping as well. Mr. Modi welcomed the recent agreement for complete disengagement and the resolution of issues that
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. And is the Congress in a downward spiral electorally speaking? Because it looks like after their Haryana rout, it's only downwards for the Congress party, at least within the India alliance, within the India bloc, because allies now want a larger share. Congress was once in power for decades, then was the principal opposition party. But many would say the principal opposition party tag could also be shaky for the Congress party because across different states, especially the 2 states that are going to polls for assemblies and the bypoll states, all of those states, allies now want a larger chunk, do not want to concede much to the Congress party given their electoral performance. Let's give you a sense of what's happening at least in 3 different states. In Maharashtra, we are going to be seeing Vidhan Sabha elections take place next month. Back in 2019, the Congress fought on 147 seats. Now they're only fighting on 85 seats. This despite them wanting over 100 seats. But both the other alliance partners said no way that over 100 seats are going to be given to the Grand Old Party. In Uttar Pradesh, there are 7 bypolls that are going to be held along with these state elections. Initially, there were talks between the Samajwadi Party and the Congress over seat sharing. The Samajwadi Party said we can only offer you 2 out of those 7, which is why 5 seats were declared. Now the Congress has decided that we will give up completely and the Samajwadi Party will fight on all 7 seats. They've even declared their support for these candidates. Shifting focus to Bengal, where the left and the Congress were in alliance when in 2024 this year, when general elections were held. But now that alliance has fallen through and the left has blamed the Congress for that in these upcoming by-elections. So as allies keep snubbing the Congress party, has Congress now been reduced to playing second fiddle, and is that where they're headed?
सारी चीज़ें लोगों को याद है और लोग इसलिए वर्ली में तो उनके दिल का वो एक घिरा है वो कि उसके लिए सभी लोग एक उत्साहपूर्ण वातावरण में खड़े रहेंगे और उसको चुन करेंगे।
महाराष्ट्र में सत्ता परिवर्तन करना है तो इसमें सीट शेयर कितना किसने लड़ा ये मायना नहीं रखता, मायना ये रखता है कि कौन जीतेगा। तो हमारा पूरा आज हम सीट शेयरिंग के बाद में हमें पूरा कॉन्फिडेंस है कि हम 200 के पार जाएंगे।
उत्तर प्रदेश में कांग्रेस पार्टी अपने उम्मीदवार नहीं उतारेगी।
Let's open this up. Chitra Bhatam, spokesperson of the Congress, C.S. Jha, leader of the Shiv Sena UBT faction, and Susi Ben Shah, leader of the Shiv Sena, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena of the Sindhe faction. Let me begin by asking the Congress's representative. Ms. Bhatam, from Maharashtra to Jharkhand to Uttar Pradesh, has the Congress given up on even fighting? Because that's what many are saying, that now you have to make peace with the fact that your alliance partners want a bigger share because they have no confidence in your electoral performance anymore?
Well, Poonam, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So, good evening to you and your viewers. Well, it is a very laughable statement that you have started with. If nobody has any confidence in our electoral performance, then I think what was the result on June 4th is not acceptable to people. This is the best performance that Congress has given by far in so many years, comparing to the last two electoral results. So, obviously, our confidence is boosted. Our allied partners have more trust in us. But then the thing is, we are going with a strong strategy and we are going with a strong criteria. As heard our leadership, okay, the only criteria for right now for Mahavikas Aghadi in Maharashtra, be it or in Jharkhand or in Uttar Pradesh, wherever, we are looking out for winnability. So that is the bottom line for us, and which is why we are willing to sacrifices with our allied partners. So whoever wins, we are going to remain as a unified frontal opposition. So we want to be strong in our numbers, and we want to continue with the best form that's given to us on June 4th. So which is why we are willing to
It's
make
interesting,
sacrifices
Chitra
for
Vatam, you
that.
say that what I said was laughable, but many would say what you are saying is laughable because June 4th, if you say was the best performance the Congress had, where you were stuck at 99 and somebody came to you giving support where you came down to 100, if that's the best performance and that's something that the Congress wants to boast about, I don't think many within the India bloc would also be happy with that. But having said that,
I said
why is,
compared to the last electoral
sure,
Adam,
sure, why is the Congress then not contesting on any bypoll seat in Uttar Pradesh?
that is what I'm saying. We have done our internal assessment, and based on that, I think the leadership has decided that it is best to contest as an India bloc, and which is why we are doing we are giving our candidates to the Samajwadi Party, and we are hopeful that the India
You're not
bloc
giving your
as a
candidates to the
unified,
Samajwadi Party. The Congress is not fighting in Uttar Pradesh, is what your spokesperson came out and said, that all 7 of those candidates are going to be Samajwadi Party candidates.
They have no grounds in UP. They have lost ground.
Sure.
We've already. Madam,
Chitra Bhatam, go ahead.
can I speak?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm saying is our secretary for Uttar Pradesh, Savina Pandya, declared that all the seats will be contested on the Samajwadi Party symbol, but we are going in the elections as a unified India bloc.
Sure. So it's a unified front, CS Jha, as far as Maharashtra is concerned. The Congress wanted over 100 seats minimum. The Uddhav Sena was very categorical right from the start that that is a no-go. So finally, all 3 partners have gotten 85. Do you think this is because the Congress's large-heartedness of being sacrificial and giving its allies what they wanted? Or is it because the allies said, we can't give you what you want because we don't have confidence in you?
See, in Maharashtra, what has happened that there are other allies partners who are required to given the seat, and that too we have given, we have left the seat for other parties like AAP and other regional parties who are fighting in the Maharashtra Assembly elections, and we have decided to share our seats equally. And there is no question of a small brother or big brother in Maharashtra because the elections are going to be held, and we want that in any circumstances, this government should go away, the running government, and we have decided to fight the elections equally.
There are still 23 seats that are up for grabs, even after the smaller parties, CSJA, have been removed. If the Congress wants the maximum share of those 23 seats, is the Uddhav Sena ready to give that to them?
See, there is no question with regard to the 23 seats. We have not decided on that aspect, and it has been decided that these seats will go to the other alliance partners. Let these
no, these 23 are without those alliance partners. There are 10 that have been promised to the other alliance partners, apart from the 85 that have been shared between the 3. There are still 23 that are undecided. If the Congress wants more, because the Congress wants at least 100, they are right now at 85. If out of the 23, the Congress says minimum of 15 is what we want, is the Uddhav Sena ready to let that go? It's a simple yes or no question.
Between the parties, and the main leaders are deciding on it. But eventually, if you see that this decision has been taken unanimously, and this thing will carry on till the elections.
Okay, Suziben Shah, we've spoken about the opposition bloc, but as far as the Mahayuti is concerned, there were some troubles there as well. So seat sharing and negotiations over that seem to be a trouble that both factions seem to be facing as far as Maharashtra goes.
So good evening to all. And should I say that, we are three big parties, all of us, right? And as far as the Mahayuti is concerned, there was no public spat. There was no public bickering. We have announced our candidates. And when you saw the 85 press conferences, you should have seen their body languages. You should have seen their faces. They were gloom and they were worried what the hell is happening. Secondly, the same day, that evening, UBT announced a group of some 12 constituencies to mock the Congress party. They took objection. The peasant party said that we have been promised to, we have announced. They had to withdraw the seat. That is the confusion in the Aghadi. I don't seem to understand. Yes, there could be difference of opinion, but if they cannot solve the seat sharing, how are they going to run Maharashtra? How are they going to have a Viksit Maharashtra? What about safety? What about progress of Maharashtra? They are lost in their campaign. They don't know what they are doing. The UBT and the Congress are at loggerheads because there is no alliance. There is no meeting of the minds. They are not the natural alliance. They must have forgotten that Balasaheb Thackeray, Vandaniya Shiv Sena Pramukh Balasaheb Thackeray said, as far as the NCP is concerned, they are a bunch of scoundrels. As far as Congress is concerned, they are a bunch of inuks. And he also said that the day I have to align with the Congress party, I'll shut my shop.
Remember
I will
that
shut
as well.
my shop. So therefore, when there is no meeting of the minds, how can there be an Aghadi? It is a falsification. It cannot go on. And you will see the differences of only 28 seats. Let us not forget, or I think even 27. The difference is only of 27 seats in the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha, there was only 27 seats. The difference between the winning margin in the Vidhan Sabhas. 27 seats we have more than covered in the 2.5 years by the progress on infrastructure, safety, security. Remember, there has not been a single bomb blast. Remember, no Mumbai, no Maharashtra has lost any lives during the 10 years. So if you want stability, you want safety, you want security, it is the Mahayuti.
But Shah, you haven't answered my question.
What?
I was asking you about the differences within the Mahayuti. Because there are at least 4 candidates, and you said there were no public spats, but there are at least 4 candidates that the BJP has announced that the Shinde Sena has taken objection to very publicly.
I understand. There is no public bickering and we are not running away from it. We do have a difference of opinion. We are 3 strong parties. Everyone wants more seat, more representation to their symbol in Maharashtra. But yes,
the same as the Aghadi. Then why is it an issue for the Aghadi but not for the Mahayuti? Why is the Mahayuti more sorted then? I mean, difference of opinions can happen everywhere.
As far as we are one of the oldest alliances with the BJP. Let us not forget. Let us not forget that. The meeting of the mind is very important. Just because the Sharad Pawarji pulled the strings and put a knock on their knuckle that announced the seat is going against us, they came up with 85. Which are those 85 seats? No one knows. How is getting smaller parties? SP has already announced their candidature for Dhule, for Malegaon, which the Congress was claiming. So therefore, Poonam, it is a complete chaos. It's a complete breakdown of discussions and dialogues. And you will see that Mahayuti, and we are firmly on the saddle under the leadership of our CM, Shri Eknath Raoji Shinde, will romp home. And once again, he will be the CM of Maharashtra.
Chitra Bhatam, the allegation against the Aghadi is that because there's so much public bickering and so many advances that are made publicly, all of which can be done privately, it seems like there is no confidence within the bloc, within the alliance partners against each other. And that kind of optics doesn't fare well. Chitra Bhatam.
Yeah, so Poonam, it's very, again, so shamelessly, the Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde faction spokesperson over here is putting out.
Watch it.
Yeah, let's not take personal pot shots.
You also
Let's-
watch it before you
Let's
call
not.
us-
Okay.
before you
Okay.
call us names,
Okay.
okay?
Chitra and
So the
Suzy Bain,
Gadar
let's
party,
not
you
please
cannot
take
call us
personal
names
pot
and
shots
going
at
to be-
anyone.
Yes.
Let's not.
us
Let's get to the
speak.
point,
So
please.
that's
I
what
don't
I'm
have.
saying, you know,
I don't have a
these
lot
are
of time on this
things-
debate. Suzy Bain
Learn
Shah
the
and Chitra Batam, I request both
So
of
that
you.
is what
Let's
I'm
keep
saying.
this civil,
So
please.
what I'm saying,
Go ahead,
yes,
Chitra.
I was keeping it very civil, and she's the one who is instigating it.
She
Okay,
was-
so this is the phase of Eknath Shinde faction. Okay, now coming to
We
the
don't
point,
like
if they are so confident about going into polls, which Eknath Shinde's face, why are they contesting only on 45? Why have they declared only 45 seats, which is less than half the number of seats the BJP has already declared. They want to repeat their own people, whom the people of Maharashtra have rejected time and again, and they are claiming that they don't
What
have
is she
any
talking?
convincing. You spoke about over here in Maharashtra. Definitely, there is respect about women's security. There is a loot, corruption issues that are going on. Every day you are gifting acres and acres of land to Modani in Mumbai. So definitely there are a lot of issues, and for us, the issues of the people are a priority. These matters
So much
of
blabbering.
the share is just going to last only for 2-3 more days, and later, as I said, we are a united, strong bloc, and we are going to win the respective elections, and we are going to pay back and hit them hard.
Suzy Bain
Okay,
Shah,
that-
30 seconds for your rebuttal before I get into Mr. Jha as well.
You see, I asked a simple question on the progress of Maharashtra. What they want to do is scrap everything, delete the metro project, delete the coastal road, delete the Atal Setu. Their only agenda is delay. As far as this Modani that he said, it was Uddhav Thackeray who floated the tender. As far as Dharavi is concerned, the Dharavi is ongoing. We are going.
Okay, Chitra, let
We
her
are
finish,
going to
please.
scrap the
It are the
tender.
same
Okay,
tender.
Chitra, let her finish, please.
You are completely
give lies
misleading.
over here.
It are the same. It are the same. They are the same conditions. 350 square feet was promised. It is a lie that you said that no premium is paid. 4,200 premium was paid. Every person staying in Dharavi will get a home. That is the point. If you
1.5
object
lakh
to this,
people have not been counted in Dharavi.
your alternate plan? You are not coming up with alternate plan, wasting time on scrapping, delaying, cancelling, threatening the bureaucrats. Talk about progress of Maharashtra. Talk about your...
And speaking of that progress of Maharashtra, Chitra and Suzy Bain, hold on please. Let me get in CS Jha as well. CS Jha, these projects and what needs to be done with them, even on that, the three partners within the opposition bloc, which is the Agadi, don't seem to be on the same page.
See, we are always on the same page. We have objected to the Dharavi project, and this Dharavi project has been handed over to Adani Group. Under what circumstances and how it has been handed over to Adani Group, that has to be seen, and that requires an investigation to be done. We always have raised objections with regard to such project, because this project does not seem to be a public project, but it seems to be a private project, because the sitting CM used to
Why
be a
don't you go to
contractor
the court?
mantri, and
Why don't
nothing
you go to
else,
the court
and he
challenging
has
it?
boasted all
Suzy
the
Bain Shah, let him
contractors
finish,
and
please.
nothing else.
He was patiently listening until now.
Secondly, the development and the law and order situation. Everyone knows how the Maharashtra has suffered for last 3 to 4 months with regard to law and order situation, with regard to Badlapur, Pune incident. Everything is on record. Infrastructure, if you see the development, the industries, many industries have gone to the Gujarat, and nothing else has come down to Mumbai or Maharashtra, and they are boasting on the development. These are completely wrong things. The elections are going to come, and let us see what happens.
Elections are just around the corner, and we'll find out which
One
narrative
quick question.
wins. But elections are just around the corner,
One
which is
quick
also,
question.
which
Why don't they
unfortunately
go to
I don't
the
have the
court?
time for that, Suzy Bain Shah. But like I said, elections are around the corner, and it is for both parties, for both alliances, for both blocs to get their act together, at least as far as seat sharing goes, and the people of Maharashtra will decide. I thank you all for joining us here on this edition of Plain Speak. With that, it's a wrap from my side.
Co-powered by
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Xi Jinping, the President of the People's Republic of China, on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS summit at Kazan on 23rd October. This is the first bilateral meeting between the two leaders